Hello students of Comp Sci 1MD3, my name is Mark Hutchison. I'm one of the TAs. I'm recording this video, and I'm going to even turn on my webcam. Specifically, if you guys want to know what I look like, my webcam will be on for all future content I do. And this video is going to be regarding some additional help. Very commonly, we get students who are struggling with one of the concepts that we're covering. And the concept that I'd like to talk about today is going to be functions. Now, this is a Samsung Note, and I'm currently using my Samsung tablet, which is down below me. I don't know. There you go. So that's my setup. Very rainbow keyboard. It's very much how I operate. But I'd like to do this video not as a requirement, and there will be no code. I want to do this as a additional understanding, and it's going to be talking about something Nick talked about in one of his lectures. If you watch this video, I genuinely think you will have a better understanding of functions than what you came in having. Unless you're already an expert, in which case this course will be a cakewalk for you. So I'm going to split this into 3 parts. Part 1 is going to be what math says a function is. So we're going to be looking purely at the mathematics. Part 2 is going to be what Python says a function is. And then part 3 is going to be looking at how does Python tell the computer what to do with that data. So, I am going to split this video into 3 sections formally, but it's not going to actually be split. It's going to be one long video, so I'm going to just quickly mark with what is a function. So part 1, how does math define functions? And this is a fancy pen. I hate using it though, so I'm going to stick with my normal pen. So in math, you guys are probably typically introduced to stuff like function f at x equals, let's say, x squared. That's one of your classical functions, and I'm going to make sure that that too is a little more legible. You would have function g at, let's say, y, and that could be equal to y minus 5. You could have a function mower of, let's say, variable a, and that's going to be equal to ln of a. Or you could have function name take in variable mower and return ln mower. In math, it's very easy to identify what each of these parts do. If you think about it, you're going to have some sort of assignment operator, which I've highlighted in pink. It's going to be the equal sign in math. Some mathematicians will use colon equals to say it's assignment. That's the correct mathematical notation, but that's not always going to be what is used. Forgive me real quick. I don't actually have the blue I like using in my quick highlight, but they have a function name denoted in blue. I always use blue for function names. And some sort of variable, which I'll denote in red. So when you look at any function, you can guarantee these 3 parts in some way. Now, some functions don't actually take in any variables or parameters or anything, so you could literally have function equals 5, and no matter what, whenever you write function, you actually mean 5. But again, it's all 3 parts. There's nothing in red because there is no parameter. The blue would be the letter F, and the pink would be the number, or not the number, it would be that equal sign. It's the return type. So that's all fine and dandy, because I'm sure you guys have seen this. After all, grade 12 calculus is a requirement for this course, so you guys should all be pretty familiar with this mathematical concept. So let's flip it on its head, shall we? Let's move straight into concept 2. I'm not going to bother writing it down because you all remember. How does Python look at a function? Specifically, I want to look at how Python looks at the exact same mathematical function. So if I can write function, and my example is going to be ABC equals, let's say in math, I want to do a squared plus 5b minus c. Let's say I want to code that function in Python. Well, first, let's identify the pieces, exactly like what I was saying before. So first, the function name. Whoops, I just deleted it. I'm going to call the function f. That is going to be my function name, so I'm going to highlight that in blue. Next, I'm going to go through red and I'm going to identify my variables. Lovely. And then finally, I'm going to identify my return. My return is in pink. And I'm using the keyword return because at the end of the day, once you've calculated the value, you need to give it back to the user. And that's how Python very much views it as well. So Python is very much the same thing. First, let's tell Python that we're coding a function. So what you would do is you would write def to say that I am defining a function. Next, I'm going to tell Python what the function name is. And that's that nice little part that we highlighted in blue previously. Now that's pretty cool. Next, I need to give my function its parameters. Well, my parameters, as I could see from up here, are A, B, and C. So I'm going to go A, B, and C. I've told Python that I have that. Next, I'm going to do a 2 colons to indicate that I am done the definition. I'm ready to begin coding. Now, in Python, you have 2 options you can do. Option 1 is to define a variable, and that's what you're going to see me doing a lot in my tutorials. Or option 2 is to immediately return the value, both of which are completely valid. So, option 1 would look like this. Some sort of variable, an answer variable, I'm going to call S, standing for solution. And I'm going to take the code. So a squared. Squared is done via the star star operator. Plus 5 times, that's a single star, B minus C. And again, if I wanted to highlight everything I was doing before, there's your variables right there. However, those are your parameters. Notice how I didn't highlight S. S is completely and totally independent of what you've coded previously. S is some intermediate step. And then finally, you would write the keyword return, and you would tell it to return S. Now, S is a variable, but what is return? Well, return actually very cleanly maps to that pink equal sign. Notice how I've colored them both pink because the return is very much equivalent to saying function equals this. Return is saying return this value. However, like I said, you don't need to use S. S is optional. So, what if I don't want to use S? What do I do? Well, I can actually write return on the same line as my code. I wrote that a bit close, apologies. So now I've returned all that. I didn't save it to a variable or anything. I'm just immediately returning it. I'm going to take a quick drink, real quick. Apologies, my throat was just a bit dry. So, this is all fine and dandy, but you guys might be wondering, Well, if I have return and I go into the Python code and I say f at, what's two numbers that I could calculate? 2, 2, and 10. Why not? So if I were to do f at 2, 2, 10, I know that the answer is, and I'm going to use specifically an arrow because I don't want you guys to see an equal sign and get confused. I know the answer is going to be 2 squared, which is 4, plus 2 times 5, which is 10, minus 10, which gets 4. So whenever I write f of 2, 2, 10, I'm really just writing 4. But some of you guys might be confused as to, because I've seen a lot of people do s at f2 to 10, and they would expect this to just immediately print. But it's not. Because f of 2 to 10 is the exact same as saying s equals 4. It calculates this for you. This stops existing. So if you want to print it, you very much need to write print f of 2 to 10. Because what happens is Python sees that, erases it, and replaces it with 4, then print sees 4 and puts it on the user's screen. Print and return are very different. Print only exists to put whatever the contents inside of it is on the screen so that you can see it. Apologies, I'm getting notifications from Nick and the other TAs. However, return takes a value and gives it back to you. It doesn't print it, it doesn't do anything like that. It just simply is like the function equal sign. Do a little heart doodle. So that's all fine and dandy. But a lot of people in my first semester, and this is where you guys, like, if you guys understand now, you can go ahead and click off. A lot of people in my first semester, though, they kept asking me, well, how does a computer see this? Why is it that the computer is doing it this way? And that's actually pretty easy to understand, because in your first lecture, Nick taught you guys about registers. Now, the following is going to be about Windows-specific registers, and that was not a rectangle. But yeah, the following is going to be about Windows-specific registers. However, the same concept applies to every operating system. Registers can be viewed as a block of just data. So I'm going to make this one long tape, and I'm going to say that this is register 0, this is register 1, this is register 2, this is register 3, this is register 4, this is register 5, this is register, blah, 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 blah. You guys don't really care about seeing me write it a whole bunch, so just imagine that these registers continue on. Some systems have up to register 32, some have 64 registers, but I'm just going to deal with a conceptual 6 registers. Each of these registers has a specific purpose. Register 0 and register 1 are actually completely defined. Register 0 holds the number 0 at all times, and register 1 is actually where functions put answers. So that's a nice little answer. Registers 2 onwards, for the most part, are then variables. So let's say I have variable x equals to f of 2 to 10. Recall this would eventually be the answer of a variable x, I believe. Or sorry, variable 4. Sometimes you say something, and you don't realize how stupid it is until it comes out of your mouth. Oh, hey, look, my webcam froze. That's my bad. There we go. So the reason that just happened is my computer powered off because I wasn't using it, because the tablet doesn't actually register as a program, so it's not keeping my my screen awake. This shouldn't take too much longer, though. So let's say that variable x is the exact same as saying register, let's say 4, just for convenience. So we have register 4, and it wants to put the information from here into register 4. Well, register 4 has to first call the function. The function will take each of these variables, and it goes first 2, 2, and 10, and identifies them and says, hey, A, B, and C, you guys are gone. You have become 2, 2, and 10. Additionally, you have become 2, you have become 2, and you have become 10. Now, note, they're still variables. They're still A, B, and C. However, this declaration that has been boxed in has said, I want A equal to 2, B equal to 2, and C equal to 10. And the function will honor that and calculate a number. So after it's replaced all the parameters, it says, well, you have done 2, 2, and 10. I recognize 2, 2, and 10. I have done the formula, and I have returned 4. The function then puts the answer in register 1, because that's where answers like that go. And register 4 goes, well, I wanted this at the top, or I wanted the function, and it's pointing me to register 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the value in register 1, which is the number 4. Immediately after doing this, the arrows get erased. All evidence of you doing this is erased, so an A and a B and a C get put here, and the equation gets put back. And the computer, to save memory, says, hey, register 0, can I take your 0 and put it in register 1? And it will do that. The reason it does this is to save space. This is known as code deletion or garbage collection, which is a much more commonly used term. And the reason the code does this is the number 4 is actually equivalent to 100 in binary. Meanwhile, the number 0 in binary is equivalent to 0 in binary. Which one of these takes up more space? Well, this takes 3 bits, this takes 1 bit. Clearly, this is the more space-efficient solution. And remember, your laptops have finite space. This is also why, once you have declared a function once, unless you save that answer somewhere, it just gets deleted. The moment I said x equals f2210, x now stores the variable here. That's the only place it exists. Even if I went back to the concept, because again, I saw this one a lot back in my first year. A lot of people would say s equals a squared plus 5 times b minus c, return s. A lot of people would say, well, s is actually variable or register 5. So when I say s, clearly the value of 4 must be put there too. So shouldn't I then be able to say print s? Well, no. See, when the Function asks if it can put 0 in register 1. It also asks if it can put 0 in register 5. And that gets deleted, and 0 gets put back in there. Variable s only exists for the function. The moment the function is over, that variable is done. It doesn't need to exist, so Python will automatically delete it. Do not get in the habit of thinking that variables like s are permanent. They will not exist. The moment I called function like this and saved it to x, variable s was completely and totally obliterated. So, I hope that this actually finds you guys well. I hope you guys enjoyed this. The concept I just explained actually exists for everything. So, loops and if statements also have weird blocks like this. So, if, for, while, they all work in a very similar concept with various rules. If you guys would like me to explain each of these, I will gladly do so. But the theory I have just discussed would not be brought up on a test. Do not panic as if you need to know this stuff. I'm doing this simply so we can avoid a lot of the major questions. Anyways, I'm Mark Hutchison. I'm going to upload this video to YouTube and streams, and then I'm going to let you guys be on your way. Bye-bye.